I do have a question, which is I pulled this wonderful book, Oakeshot's book, Records of the Medieval Sword. This is one of the, it's one of my favorite reference manuals. I mean, it's right up there with the AP style book. I know that is a weird pairing, but I own a copy of the AP style book, and it is a phenomenal reference tome. And Oakeshott is also an amazing reference tome because this really is the classifier of all medieval swords. And they are all called by their numbers because of Oakeshott's taxonomy and classification system. And I brought it here from the house because I'm trying to make furniture for a sword. That's what you call the stuff you attach to the blade. It's the furniture. And it led me to starting to think about my maker library, which most of it is right around the corner here, but that I want to give it some more shelving because I've run out of room. But also I want it to be more cross-referenceable. And so my question to you, everybody watching, is do you have a favorite maker book in your library that I might not know about? You can be guaranteed that if it's a major making YouTuber in the last 5 years, that I definitely have their book. But I'm really interested in old tomes. When I visited the White House at the end of Obama's administration and got a tour, I got a tour of the wood shop. You don't know this, but there's a wood shop in the basement of the White House. And those folks down there were super awesome. They showed me around. It is, it's bigger than you think it is, but it has low ceilings because it's old. But they had a maker book that was from the 1910s, and I managed to find a copy of it. Actually, hold on just a sec. Is it findable? Is it findable? It might be findable. It's probably. Oh, wait, no, it's not. No, it's not findable right now. I will shoot a separate video on it. But what I'd love to know is if you have favorite making tomes. Like there's a great book from the 70s about making paper airplanes. There's a wonderful book about making magic with science with great illustrations. I'm all over the place with that. But I realize it's time to start like dipping into the plasma pool of you guys for your favorite reference tomes. And if you are at all interested in swords and blades and you do not have Ewert, and you do not have Oakeshott's Records of the Medieval Sword, you really should get it. It's a magnificent book. I wanted to start with an interesting one because it came up recently on Twitter. Somebody reached out to Alton Brown and said, how was the food you guys made on MythBusters? And he said it was inedible. And here, Grog Vaughn says, how was the food Alton Brown, Jamie, and you cooked up with the car on MythBusters? So to recap, we were doing this was like a side episode about can you cook using your car, but not just, and there are all sorts of recipes for wrapping fish in tinfoil and putting it on your catalytic converter for a certain period of time and other places that your engine gets hot and how to utilize those. But we decided to do a full Thanksgiving meal that you would literally put in your car as you left for your destination. And then 2 hours later, when you got to your destination, you'd pull it out and eat everything. Now, given the vagaries of making television, you can be pretty assured that food was cold by the time we got to it, but it was not inedible. It was not inedible. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate Alton going for the joke because saying it's inedible is by far the funniest quick response. And I totally get that. But it was actually pretty edible. My favorite dish was actually Alton's idea, which was duck leg confit, which we put the duck leg in oil and sealed it and wrapped it up next to one of the exhaust outputs, if I remember correctly, and it was quite edible. So I'm just throwing that out there. Adam Schumacher asks a question that, was something I didn't expect. He said, when I watched your EMP button build, this is me building the electromagnetic pulse button from the Matrix movies that shuts everything down. He said, I was a bit disappointed that the button didn't do anything. And It's so funny because I have to tell you, I was genuinely surprised by how many of the comments were people being a little disappointed that the button didn't do anything. Do you have a different approach to building objects that are meant to look good but be mainly inert versus building things that are meant to serve a functional purpose? It's a good question. I don't think Sorry, the second part of his question is, do you see a crossover between those realms in making, or do they live in separate compartments? Both and neither, I think, is the answer. Look, I love the idea that the emp button could actually do something useful in the shop, but I personally can't jury rig something that does something I don't already need to do. Does that make sense? Okay, so when I come in here, I switch on the lights from the shop, but I do that from over near the front door where I've got some electronics that turn on a lot of the smaller lights, and then I've got the big overheads. There's not much about putting the emp button up there that interests me. And yeah, I mean, seriously, if I was going to make a switch that turned on the shop, it would be like I'd hand build one of those giant brass and copper knife switches from Frankenstein. That would be, yeah, terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And, you know, I was using a real relay, a real switch, right? So I could have used it to do that. It's just, it's funny. I was so surprised by the reaction because I totally understand the reaction, and it very likely would have been mine if I was watching. But as the builder, I'm just really pleased to have that emp button sitting next to my desk here in my office at the cave. It is an interesting question. For the most part, I think historically I have tended to prioritize the object in and of itself to be experienced as it is. And if I'm going to make an elaborate prop that integrates into my house or my shop, actually I know exactly what that prop's going to be. It's going to be a secret door with books in it. Yeah, I've always wanted a secret door with books in it. I almost had one once. I actually grew up with a secret door with books in it. My grandfather was a surgeon, and the house that my mom grew up in Sneedon's over in Nyack, New York, was built, if I remember correctly, by a grateful patient. And so it had all this wacky stuff going on. And in my grandfather's library, which was literally like a 2-story library with rolling ladders and shit, there was a fake door, and we loved that door when we were kids. And it had all these actual fake books made to be fake books, as well as also some covers with cardboard wrapped in them. Yeah, I believe, I'm not even sure that library still exists. My mom is still in touch with the owners of that house. They sold it like 20 years ago or more. But yeah, so I grew up with a library book, with a book. I've gone really far afield from the emp button from the Matrix. But look, I appreciate everyone's commentary about it. It's very well may be that I'll start to think about, like, what is a good switch from the movies that I could make that activates some things that are useful. But that's like it's like a whole mindset I got to get into. Not that I'm unwilling. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.